Looking for the perfect movies to snuggle up with this winter? I've got you covered with cozy classics and new favorites for 2024. Here are my top 10 cozy winter movies you should watch in 2024. Number 1. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. This is a high fantasy movie from 2005 that is based on the 1950 novel The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe from the children's book series The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. During World War II, 4 siblings are sent to the countryside for safety and discover a magical wardrobe that leads to Narnia. In this mystical land, they join forces with the noble lion Aslan to fulfill their destiny and overthrow the evil White Witch. Together, they embark on an epic journey to restore peace to Narnia. My favorite part is the beginning, or at least until the snow melts. I mean, if only that wasn't a key point, a key element in the plot, I would have definitely preferred for the snow to stay for the whole movie, because I prefer snowy landscapes. But I believe everybody knows this movie, and if for some reason you missed it, this is the time to watch it. Number 2. The Polar Bear King. This is a Norwegian fantasy adventure from 1991 and is based on a Norwegian fairy tale. A king, cursed to live as a polar bear by a vengeful witch, must find a bride within 7 years to break the spell. He journeys to a distant land where a kind princess agrees to marry him, unaware of his nightly transformation back into a man. When she breaks the rule forbidding her to see his human face, their love is tested as he risks being trapped by the witch forever. This movie is pure nostalgia for me, and it's definitely cringy because they don't use the best effects and the story is what it is, but it's still stuck in my mind, especially the scene with the scissors and the ones at the beginning when the prince heads to this distant land. I was mesmerized by the snow in this movie, and just a few years ago I realized it was a Norwegian movie, which makes sense, but I watched it as a kid, and so I still see it with those eyes, with that kind of enchantment. And I understand if nobody remembers this movie, because as I rewatched it recently, I noticed all of its flaws, but I still care for it and I would still rewatch it. Let me know, did you know The Polar Bear King? Especially if you're not from the Nordics. Number 3. Little Women. This is a coming-of-age historical drama, and I'm recommending you the 1994 adaptation. It's quite popular, and it's based on Louisa May Alcott's 1868-69 two-volume novel of the same name. In 19th century Massachusetts, the March sisters navigate the challenges of growing up, from financial struggles to family tragedies and romantic rivalries. Jo, determined to forge her own path, often clashes with her sisters, their spirited neighbor Laurie, and their stern Aunt March. Through love and loss, they discover the strength of family and the pursuit of dreams. Most period dramas are set in spring or summer, and this is a welcomed exception, at least for me, because part of the movie is taking place in winter and we can see Christmas. This is a popular story, and I would be surprised if you never watched it. And if you prefer the most recent adaptation, go for that one, but I still prefer the 1994 one. Either way, it's a heartwarming and at times heartbreaking story that is perfect for a cozy winter movie night. Number 4. Balto. This is a live-action animated adventure film from 1995, and it's loosely based on a true story. In Nome, Alaska, a deadly diphtheria outbreak prompts a desperate mission to retrieve life-saving medicine. Balto, a half-wolf outcast, joins a sled dog team to brave the treacherous journey, despite being rejected by others. When disaster strikes, Balto risks everything to lead the team and save the town. This is beautiful, a beautiful story in a beautiful setting. And this was the first time I saw the Northern Lights on screen, even though it's animation only, and I still thought they were mesmerizing. In my household, we had the cassette, so we could watch it on repeat. And even though I'm not a fan of dogs or stories around dogs, I still love this one, specifically because it takes place in Alaska. Since we're talking about animation, let me recommend you 2 more animated movies. Number 5, Anastasia. This is an animated musical historical fantasy released in 1997, and it's a very loose adaptation of a movie, which was inspired by some conspiracy theories surrounding real events. After the Romanov family is cursed by evil Rasputin, Anastasia disappears during the palace's fall. Years later, 2 con men find an orphan girl who looks strikingly like the lost princess and bring her to Paris, hoping to claim a reward. As they uncover her true identity, they must protect her from Rasputin, who seeks her death. I still remember when they talked about this movie on Italian television, because this was the first film using this specific blend of digital objects and effects. It's darker than your usual animated movie, but it's similar to The Secret of Nim and An American Tale. And what do they have in common? Don Bluth. These 2 are not wintry or snowy. But if you haven't watched them yet, do so. And Anastasia also has an unforgettable soundtrack. I still know all the lyrics of the songs in Anastasia. And I rewatched it when I was living in Paris, so the scenes towards the end were particularly interesting to me, so that after watching the movie I could go to the places where they portrayed certain scenes. I would say it's a masterpiece. Number 6, Frozen. This is an animated musical fantasy film from 2013, and it's inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's 1844 fairy tale, The Snow Queen. When the kingdom of Arendelle is cursed by eternal winter, Anna embarks on a dangerous journey to find her estranged sister Elsa, whose icy powers are to blame. Joined by rugged mountaineer Kristoff, his reindeer Sven, and a magical snowman, Anna faces mystical dangers to break the spell. Together, they race against time to save their kingdom from the relentless cold. Honestly, it took me years to even get to watch this movie, and I probably watched it while babysitting or something, because it came out long after the time in which I would have been the target audience, and I didn't see why people loved it at that point. Until I think last year, after the first proper snowfall here in Finland, where I live, I took a long walk, tons of photographs, and I was freezing. So I came home, made a heartwarming soup, a hot cup of tea, and I put Frozen on, and honestly, it really hit. It was the perfect thing to watch. Despite being cold, it was just beautiful. And right after that, I also watched the second one, which some people say it's even better than the original one. So I would recommend them both, actually. And it's true, after moving to a Nordic country, it hits differently. And if you don't love the snow, perhaps it's not as enjoyable. But now I've put it on my own watch list for this winter. Number 7, Miracle on 34th Street. This is a Christmas fantasy comedy drama, and you can either choose the 1947 adaptation or the 1994 one. A kind old man hired to play Santa Claus at Macy's claims to be the real Santa, but when his sanity is questioned, a lawyer takes on the challenge of proving his identity. With the help of a skeptical little girl, they fight to show that the magic of Christmas is real. Together they work to convince a courtroom and the world that the true Santa exists. The story takes place between Thanksgiving and Christmas in New York, so if you enjoyed that kind of setting, this is for you. But it's also one of those movies that were on TV in Italy every single winter. And so we enjoyed watching it as a family, and I still watch it on my own. And perhaps I prefer the 1947 adaptation because in this period was the end of the year. I often watch older movies, black and white movies, and I might even make an episode recommending that kind of movies only. So it feels appropriate to me. And it's also one of those Christmas movies that is not too dumb, or that I still feel cozy and heartwarming without being too silly. Number 8, Serendipity. This is a romantic comedy from 2001. On a magical night, Jonathan and Sarah meet and fall in love, but their paths separate due to fate. Years later, with 3,000 miles between them, they each believe destiny will bring them back together. As they search for each other, they must decide if love truly has a second chance. I don't really know why I enjoyed this movie this much, because I rewatch it, I think, every single year. And it's also quite modern, so compared to the other recommendations that I gave you. But it's a romantic comedy that, for some reason, resonates with me. And maybe you prefer to watch, I don't know, Love Actually or other movies that are similar to this one. But this is my pick. Number 9. Bridget Jones' Diary. This is again a romantic comedy from 2001, and it might be the most popular movie after Frozen on this list. At 32, Bridget decides to take control of her life by starting a personal diary, documenting her hilarious and often awkward attempts at self-improvement. From navigating relationships and work to tackling her diet and exercise, she faces life's challenges with humor and honesty. Through her diary, she reflects on love, adventure, and finding happiness on her own terms. This is loved by so many people. And you also have several sequels, but the first movie became a cultural phenomenon, basically. And watching it in 2024, you will notice how much this movie and a series of movies similar to this one impacted our way of looking at bodies and the shame that we girls growing up in that period felt looking at this actress who was perfect and being told that she is too fat, too ugly, too silly, or whatever. Even though that is maybe one way of dealing with the issue, it still affected a lot of people. But if you don't think about that, it's an enjoyable comedy, and the character is relatable, which perhaps sets this movie apart from others that were made at that time and makes it the movie that we enjoy watching in this season. For number 10, I have 3 movies that take all the same spot because they are not perfect. They are not the best out there, but I will still recommend them for different reasons, so you will see what I mean. The first one is The Silver Skates, which is a Russian period romantic adventure, and it's based on the American novel Hans Brinker, or The Silver Skates. In 19th century St. Petersburg, a swift courier on the frozen canals is recruited by a group of pickpockets, but his heart is stolen by an aristocrat's daughter. As their love blossoms, social barriers and dangerous forces threaten to tear them apart. Amidst the winter markets and icy streets, they must fight for their love against all odds. Russian movies are always a bit odd. They really have a peculiar feel to it. And I've watched several. I've also recommended you more than one, mostly sci-fi. But this one is a bit dreamy and charming. Again, probably because of the setting. I love seeing them skating on the canals. And watching this movie, I realized that actually when I moved here, I moved more or less at the same latitude. And at that point I realized, oh, but perhaps the lakes and the sea might freeze. Because when I watched it was right before the big snowfalls that we got that year, and so I wasn't sure what winter was gonna look like. And rest assured, the sea freezes. And it's one of those unforgettable experiences that I've been lucky enough to live and document. So maybe that's why I enjoyed this movie, rather than the story, which is again a romance basically. So if you are looking for this kind of setting, this is great. The second one that takes this spot is A Boy Called Christmas, which is a British Christmas fantasy, and it's based on a 2015 book of the same name by Matt Haig. Nicholas, a young boy with a loyal pet mouse and a headstrong reindeer named Blitzen, embarks on a daring journey to find his father, who is seeking the legendary village of Elfhelm. As they venture into the snowy north, Nicholas discovers his true destiny in this magical and heartwarming adventure. Along the way, he learns that with courage and determination, nothing is impossible. This again is not the number one recommendation I would give you for a Christmas movie or a wintry movie, but it's still cute, it's charming, and I think I loved it simply because part of the movie is shot in Lapland, here in Finland, and the landscape was familiar to me. And it's probably one of those movies that you want to watch with your children as well. And finally, the third movie I will recommend you in this 10th position is The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, which is a fantasy adventure from 2018, and it's a retelling of a short story from 1816, as well as the famous ballet from 1892 by Tchaikovsky. Young Clara embarks on a journey to find a magical key that will unlock a priceless gift, only to be transported into a fantastical world. There, she meets a soldier named Philip, a group of mice, and the regents of 3 realms, who guide her through a mysterious 4th realm. Together, Clara and Philip must retrieve the key and restore balance to the troubled land. This feels a bit like a failed project, because it had so much potential. Clearly the story is loved and popular, everybody knows it, and perhaps this retelling is not the best one out there, but it's still better than others that I've seen. So if you're looking for this magical story in beautiful landscapes, maybe you should add it to your watch list. Do you have any recommendations for a cozy winter night? Especially if it has snow in it. Let me know in the comments down below. Here are your 10 cozy winter movie recommendations for a chilly winter night in 2024. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will get notified whenever I upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.